Okay, so
Nice.
Instagram. First thing, and this goes back to his initial point about establishing your social media presence. This is going to be a suggestion on all of your platforms, but we'll just start here. I love the simplicity of Soul Singer Husband Dad. The only other things that I would add are, as soon as your Kickstarter campaign goes live, change your link to the Kickstarter link.
Yes. Okay.
And then I would put a sentence in there, probably after Soul Singer Husband Dad. And do this in your own style and your own feel, but you want to give them one little phrase or sentence on what they're going to get out of following you. Like, so whether that's really direct, you know, some people will be like, follow for, you know, if it's a business, follow for information on blah, blah, blah. Some musicians are like, follow to watch my journey through creating my next album, right? Follow to watch my journey of 5 kids or what, and then whatever your journey is, whatever you're going to use that platform for, kind of give them this is what you're going to find here, and this is why I want you to join my journey. In your case, depending on how you're going to use this Kickstarter campaign, right, maybe tie it to that why, right? If this album is about supporting artists without big labels, it's follow my journey of a, you know, self-produced album or whatever that is. So give them a why. Insert your Kickstarter link. Okay, I want to talk about, this is going to be really hands-on, functional stuff, but it's going to make the biggest difference in your content being reached and found. So if you're looking at Instagram, let's click on the second to last photo that you posted. It was the most recent photo. It's the one of you and the 3 staff, this right kind of selfie photo.
Yeah, and they loved my music. They were like, man, I got to grab a selfie with these guys because they're so supportive, and it was cool. Yeah. Okay,
so first things first, selfies with fans are like amazing. And they're amazing for 2 reasons. Number one, it does exactly what it did from the standpoint of it shows everybody like, hey, I'm out here, I'm connecting with people, right? People love that about musicians. Number 2 is it gives whoever you're taking the selfie with a reason to come back to your social media in the most organic way possible, right?
Yeah.
Even if it's like a giant group of people that you're performing to, you know, and there's 500 people in the background, if they know that on Snapchat you took a selfie with them and then you're going to post that on their Instagram, an hour later, they're going to go check you out on Snapchat and they're going to go look at your Instagram. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Everybody wants to see themselves and they want to be associated with an artist and whatever that is. So whether it's personal people or big groups of people, take the opportunity to take a selfie with them or whatever, capture them, because it'll be the easiest way to create content for your social media sites. So that's awesome.
Great. Okay.
That's the philosophical point to this picture. The very functional thing that I want to talk about is hashtags.
Okay.
So this is going to be really like nitty-gritty stuff, but it's going to make the biggest difference. So if you look at the photo that you posted, you wrote a little bit of a caption, like grabbed a quick selfie with some of the awesome staff. I love the fact that you tagged the Marriott. That was perfect. And then you've got 2 hashtags, Great Peeps Marriott. Okay, so I'm going to, if you're on Instagram, go to, are you on it on your computer?
Yes.
Okay, so type in Instagram.com/hey pretty, and then the letter U.
Hey pretty you. Okay.
And then let me know when it gets there. You should see
there. Yep.
pineapple day. Yep.
Yes.
Okay, so this is one of my clients, and I'm just going to use her as a great example. She also goes to Impact.
Nice.
So if you look at, look at the second photo, the Shmonday photo.
Yep, I see that. There's a truck, there's a pineapple, and then there's a truck with flowers.
Yes, so look at the, do you see the one that's like a white quote and it says Monday?
Yes, yeah, the moment when Sunday stops. Yep.
Okay, so click on that post. And I'm going to talk through what we do and then why it works. And then we'll talk about how that applies to you. So if you look at her first caption, right? What time does Monday start for you? It's about 2 p.m. Quote credit, blah, blah, blah. And then she uses hashtag pretty movement, which is kind of the brand hashtag that she uses. Then you'll see that she actually commented on her own post, which is why you see, hey, pretty you again. And then you see that big giant paragraph of hashtags.
Yes.
So if you were looking at this on a phone, what you would see is her caption, and then you would just see a ... You'd never actually see all those hashtags. It just kind of condenses it as if you get a bunch of comments, and it kind of shrinks them, and it says, read more comments here, right?
Okay, yes.
What this does, this is true for Instagram and not true for Facebook or Twitter, because hashtags are powerful on Instagram because people use Instagram to find new content, right? Very different than Facebook, where people use it to watch their news feed, look at their grandkids, and maybe look for a restaurant or a new, you know, they're going to search for something very specific, but they're not looking for content in general. Instagram is the opposite. People will type in hashtags or click on hashtags to look for content that's just out there. So hashtags are pivotally important in making sure that your content is seen by more than just the people that follow you. The reason it's kind of an Instagram hack, if you will, the reason we put it in a comment is because then people who are looking at your post, they never actually see the hashtags. So it doesn't kind of conglomerate up your post with all of those hashtags. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
In Instagram, I believe the number is 25. You can put in 25 hashtags as the cap. You'll want to put in as many as you can, right? 20, 25, 23, as many as you can think of. And what I do and what our clients do is we kind of write out a general group. We save it somewhere in our phone, like a note app or somewhere in our, you know, that's just easily accessible in our phone. And we do a copy paste. So you're going to write these, you're going to maybe come up with 2 or 3 lists, hashtag lists, right? That are for different things. And then you're just going to copy paste depending on what your post is about. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then in your caption, you're going to always, my advice to any of my clients is 1 or 2 hashtags. A hashtag that is your kind of brand hashtag. And in your case, you might have 2. It might be Michael Land something. And I don't know if you have a name for the album or a name for your Kickstarter campaign, if you want to include that. And then if you want to include 1 more that has to do with the topic itself, right? So in your case of that recent post, you might do hashtag Michael Land Music, hashtag Marriott, or hashtag Cool Peeps, right? You can add in 1 or 2 that adds flavor to the topic, but then use that caption, the second comment, that's your marketing, right? That's your marketing comment.
Which is the big paragraph down below.
Yep.
That's what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, so functionally, the way it looks, right, is you write your post, you tag whoever you're going to tag, you add your location, you press post, and then you go back to your own home feed, you click on the post, and then you click on the comment bubble, and that's where you paste your next set of hashtags.
Okay, which is the big
stuff.
Big stuff.
Yep.
Okay, so that's actually done in the comments.
In the comments, so you literally comment on your own post with your hashtags.
Oh, wow. Okay.
The reason this is it's powerful because, like I said, people use hashtags to search stuff, but it used to not work. So probably 8 or 10 months ago, Instagram hadn't made it an option. Like if you put something in a comment, it didn't associate that post with the hashtag, right? So this is a kind of new, quasi-new thing for Instagram, and you'll find that the people that are quite successful on Instagram, they're doing it. So
just 1 or 2 up top.
1 or 2 in your original caption. The rest of them go in the comment. And in the comment, I would, I have a list of them. So when we hang up, I'll text it to you. I have a list of them that I used to do marketing for a singer who's in Nashville right now. She's a country singer. So I have a list or 2 that we used for her.
Great.
So I'll send you that. The key is to, over time, right, every week or 2, when you're on Instagram and you're looking at other musicians or you're looking at other things on Instagram, see what other hashtags are being used and just kind of swap them out, right? Maybe music life is used more than music, or maybe music life is searched more than music, or country music is searched more than music life, right? So you can continually play by changing out 2 or 3 as you see what Instagram trends are. So what I'm going to give you is kind of a template. Don't, don't take it as fact, right? You can kind of change things in and out based on your content and your music and what you see is being used. Make sense?
Okay. Yeah. And how do you know what's being more commonly used or
truly testing? You can see if you're in Instagram on your, which I know you're on Blab on your phone, but if you go to Instagram when we hang up and you look at, if you click on the search tab, I'm going to see if I can show you on my screen. Right. If you click the search button down there at the bottom, it looks like a little magnifying glass. Okay?
Yes.
That's going to bring up the Explore tab, and at the top of that is where you type in, it's hard to see, is where you type in search, right? So you would type in a hashtag there, and it will actually show you. So I'm going to do hashtag country music. If I'm just going to start typing country, and I'll show you how it works. So as soon as you start typing, it gives you 4 options at the top. Top, people, tags, and places. You see that?
Yes, yes.
If you click over to tags, right, I just typed country, so it's now going to give me the most popular tags that include country, right? And you can kind of scroll, and you'll see it'll give you a number of how many times they're used. Do you see that?
Wow, yeah.
Right, and then you can scroll up. The thing with hashtags is, right, here's country music. There is power in the big numbers, right? They'll use 5 million times or whatever. There's power too in kind of the middle of the road numbers.
Yeah.
Okay, you just gave me some love. It's fine.
Yeah, I was trying to make your screen bigger. It's so funny.
Right, there's power in some of the ones that are kind of middle of the road used.
Okay. Yep, I see.
Got me? The other thing with hashtags is that just because it's used often doesn't mean that it's searched often. And I wish I had a science, some tool that said, here's the ones that get searched and here's how often. Nobody's developed that yet. So as soon as they do, I'll let you know. The only way to really figure that out is over time, just try switching them, right? So, maybe use hashtag country music for a week, right? And then next week change it to I love country, right? Or I love country music, and just see if your post is getting much more or much less impact, right?
Right. Sometimes it's just trial and error.
It is trial and error. And I'll tell you this too, a lot of it is there is no right or wrong. It's a lot of times, hashtags are just about it's kind of putting your content in different categories, and there's never any bad to that, right? So if a week you use this hashtag and next week you use that hashtag, all you're doing is making sure that your content is showing up in both places. You see what I mean? So there's power in just continually changing it just a little bit and continually testing it, because you're just getting in front of more people in different ways.
I see. Yeah, no, that's really good.
So the other thing, I don't know if you still have Hey Pretty You's post pulled up. The other thing I want to point out is if you look at it, I know this seems tedious, but it's going to make you look like a rock star. If you look at that comment that comes under her caption, right, the one with all the hashtags.
Yes.
There's 5 periods that come before the hashtags. Do you see that? They're little dots. They look like bullets. So that's we just literally use periods, period, return, period, return, period, return. And we did it 5 times. And what that does is that tells Instagram that it's a long caption, right? It's a long piece of text. And so it just condenses it. And instead of showing things, it just shows a dot, dot, dot. So again, all that does is to somebody looking at your post, they just see your caption and then they see a comment with dot, dot, dot. The difference is if you don't put those dots, it's going to show the first few hashtags, right? Hashtag country life, hashtag country music, and then it'll condense it at the end. So we do that. Again, it's a copy paste. We do it once and then we just copy and paste it in. And it just condenses it so that all they're focused on is the post and the caption. And then the hashtags are just there for marketing. Does that make sense?
Interesting. Yeah. Okay.
So that's the kind of Instagram hack that will truly get your posts seen by significantly more people. And then as you tailor your hashtags, you'll find kind of the sweet spot. In Hey Pretty Use, and I'll just give you an example. In Hey Pretty Use case, we have 1,000 followers, or just over. If we post something without hashtags, we'll get somewhere between 20 and 40 likes. If we post something with hashtags, we'll get anywhere from 100 to 175 likes.
Okay.
So you talk about 3 or 4 times the reach just because of the copy paste.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
It is. So when we hang up, I will send you those hashtags just to kind of give you a template to start with. And then what kind of phone do you have?
I have iPhone 6.
Okay, so the easiest place in the iPhone is just to save it in your notes, right? Create a notes that's called like hashtags or something. Yes. And just save 2 or 3 lists in there, put your periods in. And then what I do is, when I'm getting ready to write a post, say we're going to write a post about, you're going to take a screenshot of the screen, just talk to Chelsea about launching my Kickstarter campaign this Friday. Super excited. Love creating music for my fans. I'd post it. I'd go to my notes. I would pull one of those lists. I'd maybe edit 1 or 2 of those, right? Hashtag chatting with my fans, right? Hashtag Kickstarter campaign, copy it, paste it, and then you're done.
Okay. And you have all that on the sheet right here as well?
I summarized it by talking about hashtags in the caption and hashtags in the first comment.
I see that. Yep. Oh, cool. I see you working.
It's cool, right?
Nice.
I will also, at the very bottom of the document, put some of those hashtags in there so that if you wanted to come back to that, you could come back and copy them from there too. Next thing I want to talk about, and this applies to both Twitter and Instagram, but I'll mention it in Instagram. It's common. There's 2 things I want to talk about. Number 1 is that especially in Instagram, but anywhere on social media, it is common culture to curate is the technical word, but copy and reference other people. So in your case, the most applicable form of that is cover songs, right? Because you're going to sing somebody else's song and whatever. Because of the nature of social media, almost all artists actually appreciate that on social media, right? Now, if you were selling an album and claiming it as your own and they had it copyrighted and all that stuff, you're talking about a different thing. But I've found that when you sing something, whether it's a 1 verse or a whole song or whatever it is, and the artist somehow hears it or sees it, they actually become flattered and more often than not engage back with you.
Right.
The other thing that it does, even more powerfully than that, I think, is that it captures the fans of those artists. Right? Yeah. If you're singing a cover song for whoever, right? Michael
Gavin
Bublé,
DeGraw. Yeah,
right.
Somebody, yeah.
Their fans are going to be more likely to find you because you've mentioned or tagged them or used their hashtag. So keep that in mind whenever you're posting something that's related to them.
Cool.
So mention them in the caption.
Yes.
You've already been doing it, but I'm just going to reiterate that it's good. Tagging the places, including the place in the little location option in Instagram, is also very powerful. So continue to do that. And here's another one, and I know that you're going to be busy, but it's kind of one of those, if you have an extra minute, it's typically worth the time. If you're on your phone in Instagram and you look at one of those posts where you've tagged the location, you can actually click on the location and it'll take you to all of the other posts that have tagged that location. So let me show you. Right, so on this picture that we were talking about, the Marriott, right, you've got that location up at the top.
Yeah.
And if I click on that, it's going to pull up the location on a map, and then it's going to show me everything else that's been posted and tagged to that location.
Yeah.
The power here is you can go to these, and from your own profile, you can like them. Right?
Wow.
Because they were in the same place that you were.
Yes.
And you can do this with hashtags too, right? Which is powerful, but with a location, it's very powerful, right? If you're, especially, you know, in your case, beforehand would sometimes be very useful, right? If you're setting up and you have an hour before you start, snapping a photo, tagging the location, and then going through the first 20 or 30 photos and just liking the photo, those people will see, oh, such and such, you know, Michael Land Music liked my photo, and they'll come to your Instagram and see, oh my gosh, he's there too. He's there right now, or he's where I just was, whatever that was. Powerful for getting people physically aware of you, also powerful for getting followers, because then they feel connected to you. I was just there, or I'm there right now, or I'm staying at that hotel, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right?
Good.
Yes. Okay. Instagram hashtags, talked about that. Tagging people. The singing updates, right? Like the one that you did on Snapchat, and then you downloaded it and posted it to your
Yes.
Instagram. That's so good. Keep that up.
Is it?
Yes, it feels really authentic and really like you, and really, it's really good. And I think
Okay, good.
Yeah, I think that's a really cool, fun way to keep people up to date with your Kickstarter campaign. So throughout the course of the campaign, you know, whether that's once a day or once every other day or whatever, using something short and cute like that to just talk about what you're doing.
Okay.
And on the journey, I think will make people feel really connected.
Okay.
Okay, the next one I'm going to tell you about is Instagress.
I see that. Okay,
so Instagress, and you can type it into your computer if you want to. It's just instagress.com. This is one of those kind of like the hashtags, where it's kind of like an insider secret, but can make a really, really big difference to your Instagram success. And in your case, the more Instagram followers you have, the more people are connected to your music, and the more people hopefully will donate. So I would absolutely advocate using the free 3-day trial. And in your case, if you can deem it valuable, I would say monthly service is either $9.99 or $10.99, like $10.99. And what Instagress does, it's basically a software. It's a robot that does what you tell it, right? Which they basically have 3 functions: following, commenting, or liking. I personally, for most of my clients, only suggest to use it for liking.
Okay.
Ultimately, because that's the safest, right? All of my clients are kind of in the luxury goods. You know, they're high quality goods. So it's really hard to know, for example, if you tell it to comment on stuff, it's really hard for it to decipher what that is. And so sometimes, you know, you'd see a comment that's like, great job, and it's talking about the sick dog. Well, that just doesn't make sense, right?
Right. I've seen some of those, yeah.
So that's typically a software robot. It is very powerful for liking. It basically does what we just talked about with going to a location and liking those photos. It does that automatically based on what you tell it. So, you know, if you click sign up and you logged in, you have 3 sections, right? Following, you have 4 sections: settings, following, commenting, liking. And in the liking section, that's where I would spend your time. And you're basically going to focus on 2 things. Hashtags. So you're going to tell it hashtags to go like. Hashtag I love country. Hashtag soul, hashtag, right, whatever. And you can put in 100 if you wanted, right? You can put in as many hashtags as you want, which again becomes really powerful for you. The other thing that you can do is geolocation. So based on a map location, it will like things, right? So depending on where you are, where you're going to be, where you're going to be doing events, you could certainly go in and tailor that. And the powerful part of the tool is that you can continually edit and manipulate it. So you can start it today to do one thing, and then tomorrow you can add some more, and then the next day you can say change it like this, and it's all for one $10 fee a month. I've found that it's I mean, yes, it's $10, which is $10 everybody else would like in their pocket, but you'll get, it will like, you know, a few thousand things for you a month, and you'll talk about 100, 200, 300 new followers that are in your target, right? They're people that like soul music or like, you know, country remixes, right? Whatever you're telling it, it's going to target those people. So it's not like you're just capturing a whole bunch of randoms that probably aren't interested in you. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and the important because people say, "Oh, who liked this?"
Correct.
And then notice you.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Instagram. Yep.
Cool.
If you want to, go through that and you decide to, I would definitely do the free trial because you can get a feel for it.
Sure.
And then if you have questions on it, just drop me a note or we can hop on a call and I can, because some of the settings, like you're like, oh, what does that really do? Does that really matter? And I can kind of tell you what's important and what's not important.
Awesome.
Selfies are great. We talked about that. And tag the locations. We talked about that. Do you have questions on Instagram? I know that's kind of basics and really like nitty gritty stuff, but
no, I think that's it for now. The list of hashtags that I'll have in my notes, it includes the dots, the 5 periods up above. Yes. You just grab it and throw it in.
Yep, I'll show you literally what it looks like on my phone.
Okay. Okay.
And let me see. Let me know if you can. I know it's kind of bright. Can you see that?
Yeah. Yep.
And then
the periods over there.
Yep. And then I just do a select all and then copy paste.
Cool.
Yep.
So easy.
Yeah, and then I have a lot of clients, so I have a lot of lists, but I just keep, for every client 4 or 5 lists and just, do a copy paste.
So cool.
Okay. That's the basics for Instagram. Let's hit Twitter quick.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the principles are going to be the same. Okay, so first 2 are basically the same from Instagram. Once you get the Kickstarter up and going, include the Kickstarter link as your Twitter link, your main Twitter link in your bio.
Yeah.
I would also consider, and this is, depending on what you want to do with it, I would say something in your Twitter, similar to how I mentioned in Instagram, put something about why people would want to follow you. I would put something in Twitter about, whether it's taking interviews or for media inquiries, something like that, because the majority of people that I think use Twitter and could create value for you during your Kickstarter campaign are going to be press and media. Right? If you can get in front of press and media can talk about you and what you're doing, it'll expand your reach. And by putting that in your bio, they're going to assume that you are getting media exposure. And it's kind of like those momentum things, right? Media assumes that if you're getting some media, you are a valuable media story. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And then how do I put that in? Say that again. How do I put that into my...
So I would put that in your bio. So if you go to your Twitter, you can do it on a desktop or your phone. Where do you use it more? Computer or phone?
Phone.
Okay, so if you're on your phone, you want to click the me down at the bottom. So you're seeing your own profile. And then you click the settings button up here.
Yep.
And then beside settings is edit profile. You see that?
Okay. Yeah.
So you just click edit profile. And that'll allow you to edit your text. So that's where you can put your Kickstarter link in. And then I would just write in here, you have, I think, soul singer, dad, husband. I would leave that and then maybe put a line below it that says, media inquiries or taking interviews for July and August or whatever. Right?
So good. Yeah.
It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, right?
Yes.
And with that being said, I would use Twitter to kind of just tweet out, whatever you're doing elsewhere, right, in Venice Beach or in blah, 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 or headed back to Phoenix or whatever. But I would also take a little bit of extra time. I think that where you can gain some value from Twitter, news journalists, right, whether they're television, radio, or writers, use Twitter to push out and cycle data and news. It's a huge, probably 70% of Twitter is used for that. So I've found a lot of success, especially for the other musician I was working for, I basically write 2 tweets, right? I write one that's for kind of fans and just people following the journey, right? It's very authentic. It's the way you speak. And then I'd write one that's very tailored for news and media. So, you know, for example, you might write a tweet generally like, you know, headed to Venice Beach to, you know, play some new songs off the album tonight, you know, hashtag come see me, right? Then I'd write a second tweet, very like news focused, right? Father of 5 heads to Venice Beach to share new music with the masses, right? Include a picture of yourself or you with your kids or you know, walking to the beach, right? Whatever it is. And in that picture, tag some of the news media that's local, right? Some local radio stations that's in your genre, some local news stations that's in the area. Because you're literally using a tweet to kind of pitch your story. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So in Twitter, this is something I didn't mention in Instagram too, but you can use these both in Twitter and Instagram. Are you familiar with tagging in the photo?
Yeah.
So
you tag people, right?
Yep. That is in Twitter and in Instagram. It's equally as powerful as hashtagging. So when you tag people, it's literally, it's like liking their photo, except more powerful, right? You're getting in front of their notifications and you're saying, Michael Land, you know, tags you in such and such. Well, in news, right, again, whether it's radio stations, TV news, whatever it is, they're in the business of covering news. So what you're doing is you're saying, hey, I'm news, come look at what I'm doing, right? And you're making their job easy. So use that to your benefit. Same thing with Instagram, right? You can tag other music accounts, other news media, you know, whatever that is about what you're doing, and just make them aware of your presence. Right, here's an example of right, this is the musician in Nashville, right? So she made a tweet about her new EP, and she would post this photo. That's her album cover. And when she posts this, she would click tag people. In Twitter, you get 10 tags. And she would tag, you know, 2 or 3 radio stations, 2 or 3 of the news stations, and then the city, right? So she's in Nashville at the moment, at Visit Nashville, at Nashville Tourism, at Music in Nashville, right? Nashville has a ton of good ones. Because you're just trying to get exposure and trying to make it look like, hey, I'm in the city, I'm supporting the city, I'm sharing my music with the city. Make sense?
Yes.
Twitter's powerful that way. The other thing in Twitter that I think you should do is pin a tweet. So after you make a tweet, if you go back to your own profile, click that me at the bottom and go to one of your own tweets. So I'm on my Twitter profile, right? There's a tweet that I made. And if you click on the tweet, it'll open it up. And it'll open it up so you're just looking at the tweet itself. And then there's a more button. It's like a ... You see that down there at the bottom?
Uh-huh.
The little 3 dots?
Yes.
So if you click that guy, one of the options you'll get is pinned to your profile. Do you see that?
Oh,
Okay, this puts whatever that tweet is and saves it as your first tweet on your profile. So, and it stays there until you take it off or pin something else. In your case, I would write a really clear and concise tweet that includes your Kickstarter link and pin that one and just have it pinned for, you know, the course of the month. Right?
Good.
Which is, right, Caitlin has that. And you'll see, right, I'm on Caitlin's profile. She's the other singer. You see how it says pinned tweet right there at the top?
Yes.
Right.
Yep.
So no matter what else she tweets, that's going to stay in front of it. It's going to stay just the first thing. So when somebody comes to your Twitter profile, that's just what they're going to see first. You can do the same thing in Facebook. And I have a note there. You can pin a post at the top. So you're going to want to create whatever that kind of standard, hey guys, here's my Kickstarter campaign, blah, 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 and then pin it.
Okay.
Twitter. Consider using, so in Twitter, you can't use, 20 hashtags like you can in Instagram. Typically 1 or 2 is going to be your sweet spot. More than 2 gets just a little messy and you don't have much room then to say anything else.
Yes.
What I would advocate is pick a hashtag that's kind of related to you, your brand hashtag, right? Use that one. And then depending on what you're doing, of course, you can tailor the content. But if you're just talking about your album or, your excitement or whatever it is, I would play with using a different hashtag that's related to different genres that you kind of fit in, right? Whether that's soul, whether that's, new age soul, modern country, whatever that is, just use those over time. Again, it's kind of like we were talking about in Instagram. You're just getting in front of different groups of people over time. Same thing with Instagram. You can tag other artists that you're using their music of. I was listening to an interview with Carrie Underwood the other day, and the interviewer asked her, if she sees all of the people that remix her stuff. And she said, it's not that common because people don't tweet it at me. She's like, but once a month I'll see it on Twitter. And she goes, and every time I see it, I retweet it because it's awesome. Like, it's a beautiful, and so it's just like people aren't even thinking of this stuff. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
So, and because Twitter is so short, sometimes you'll have to create 2 tweets, right? You might be tweeting about singing in Burbank, and then you'll make another tweet, just remixed, Michael Bublé's whatever, Gavin DeGraw's whatever. Let me know what you think, right? Whatever. Questions on Twitter?
No, that's so good. I'm going to request edit access so I can edit this.
Yes.
It's okay. Why is it not? It's not requesting. It's requesting with my wife's email for some reason.
That's fine. What's your wife's email? I'll put that in here.
It's my giant bag at gmail.com. She made these giant bags and was starting. Just say it's Michael. There you go. You should see that. Okay, that's good.
Okay. Yep. Perfect. Yep. You should be good to go.
Okay. Cool. I love that pinning idea. Pinning the.
It's powerful. I'll tell you this too, just
so cool.
To use it in your future. Even if the content in the pinned tweet is the same, every few weeks change it, right? And the reason I say that is because some people who aren't super Twitter or Facebook savvy will just see the timestamp on that first tweet, and if it's too old, they'll think that there's nothing recent, right? They won't realize that that's a pinned one. So like, for example, you might pin it this week, and in 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, write the same tweet, right? And just pin that one, right? So that timestamp always looks somewhat recent, within the
Keep
month.
the date fresh. Okay. Great.
Let's see here. What else do we have? Okay, so Twitter, that's good. Snapchat. I didn't include in the list, but it's worth mentioning. The biggest complaint from businesses and celebrities on Snapchat is the fact that there's not an easy way to search for people, right, or to find people, right, which is just what you're saying. So the biggest power that we all have in getting people and driving people to Snapchat is to continually mention through our other social media that we're on Snapchat.
Yeah.
And in particular, try to remember to mention whatever your username is, right? So if it's Michael Land,
at
it's real Michael
Land. At Real Michael Land, yeah.
Mention that in whatever you're doing, whether that's, you know, a video and you're talking about it on Instagram, or you're putting it in your caption, whatever that is, so that you make it really easy for whoever's going to go look for you to find you. But yeah, just continuing to mention it, you know, on Facebook, in Instagram, all that kind of stuff, you know, and then of course, just, you know, how to add it to your story and all that stuff. So I think you pretty much understand the platform. The way you're using it is perfect.
Okay.
Show your everyday stuff. You know, and in particular, while you're going through the Kickstarter campaign, I would even say feel comfortable using it liberally to just talk about what you're doing, you know, whether that's, you know, got another $100 donation, you know, feeling really excited, like really simple stuff, you know, as you're walking to whatever, as you're eating lunch, just talk about your journey. People eat that stuff up, like eat that stuff up.
Okay. Cool.
And then, you know, it seems like you do, I'm assuming that you do know how to save and download a video or photo that you've taken from Snapchat, right?
Yeah.
That's really powerful too, you know, downloading it and using it elsewhere. It's an easy way to capture content, so keep doing that.
Okay. And I have about 10% battery on my phone. I just saw that, and I don't have a way to
plug it in. No worries.
To plug it in, just, you know, but I can also grab you if that happens. I'll get you on my computer too. So
sure.
Just, you know.
Let's talk really quick before I dive into my last few points that I wanted to go over today. Talk about when you want to chat next and what, if any, help you want on me literally kind of creating some content for you and pushing it out to help you get started.
I think day one, this next Friday, like maybe if we maybe we touch base Thursday.
Okay.
And then I'll show you maybe my tweets and what I'm planning on releasing to show everybody, you know, to make the big push day one.
Yep.
Because, you know, the more support I can get day one, the better.
Yep.
Just to make sure those all look good and everything, I think that'll be really good. And then you'll know what to retweet or whatever. Or, on day one, which is Friday. So maybe Thursday.
Perfect. Yeah. Great. Let's plan on Thursday. Do you have a time in mind, or do you want to text me Wednesday and Thursday and let me know?
Yeah, I'll shoot you a text, but I'm pretty open.
Okay, cool.
Because we're still out here, and
remind me how long you guys are there for. When do you come back in town?
We're here until Monday. We come back to Phoenix.
Okay.
So all weekend I'll still be kind of pushing it while we're out here, and we're all mobile. And,
cool.
And I'll have to probably go to town. You know, it's crazy. We're near LA, but there's no cell service where we are, so I'm gonna have to go into town, you know, for a couple hours at a time, you know, to really hit it. So,
as much as you're comfortable, obviously, you know that you know, security and location and all that stuff is always sensitive. But talking about too, the fact that you're on that journey, right? You're living the camping life in order to get things done and to make it to the next thing. Like, people connect when you tell your personal story, and especially going through a Kickstarter campaign, you know, living lean in order to make your dream come true. Like, that's a sellable story. So as much as you can talk about that and capture that, you know, even if it's just showing a 5-second snapshot of your kids running in the yard while you're in front of your computer, you know, whatever that is, you know what I mean?
That's good. Okay.
Okay, so we'll plan on chatting Thursday, which is good.
Yes.
And then I can help you get ready for Friday, which is super exciting.
Yes.
Let's talk, and I kind of mentioned this as we were going through some of the social media stuff. Do you have any plans for media during the stint of your Kickstarter campaign? Interviews, radio shows, any of that stuff?
No, but I think I could probably find something, you know, some things I've done in the past and other. Do you have any suggestions on that?
To do it. My suggestion is to do it. The thing, here's what I'm going to kind of give you as homework. Think about what that story is for you, right? Is that the husband and dad of 5 leaves plumbing life in Alaska to pursue his dreams? Is that musician leaves church to pursue his dreams? Is that been working my whole life as an artist to now fund my own album so I don't have to go to a big label, right? Figure out what that story looks like. And of course, there can be elements of all of that, but put together 2 or 3 sentences of that story. And that's something that I can help you too with. Once you've got, okay, Chelsea, this is really the story that I want behind this Kickstarter campaign, because we can then take that and leverage social media and some of our personal networks to get you some media coverage. Once I have that story, I can help you get in front of some of those media people, whether that's digitally or put in some phone calls. Can't promise you an interview, but I can promise that I can get your story in front of them. Because it's just about sharing that journey with people. And the more you can do that in more places, of course, the more attention you have. So, you know, the fact that you'll be coming back to, how long, do you know how long you're going to be in Phoenix when you're back in town?
Well, we'll be, I mean, it's home, you know, from here on out. I've got to take some weekends and come back to California, but we're there permanently.
Cool.
So.
Okay. Then I would make that, at least for getting in front of Phoenix media, make that a part of the story, right? Like whatever that means to you personally as an artist. Of course, you know, you want to travel and you want to get your music exposed to the masses, but from the standpoint of you know, if you can associate that back to Phoenix, right? Such and such artist living in Phoenix does X, Y, and Z, right? Or moves back to Phoenix to do X, Y, and Z, because again, media and media publications just love that. So work on whatever that story is. Like I said, 2 or 3 sentences that kind of encapsulate what that journey looks like. And then that'll be something that I can help you do in the first week or so of your Kickstarter campaign, to kind of get some attention. Do you have any events planned, gigs?
I don't.
I didn't know that. Want to, really, or are you purposely staying quiet?
I really want to. Yeah, I really do. I mean, you know, I just know that the majority of my time is going to be spent working on the album. I mean, like right now, I mean, my cousin tweeted me twice who we were working on the album together while we were talking. Just, he's like, man, this, you know, we're talking music. I've been creating tracks. I set it all up in our camper. Like and I took pictures of it because it kind of looks cool. Like I had this whole mobile studio set up in our little RV because I'm sending out tracks, you know, and like it's all Kickstarter, promotion, and album. You know what I'm saying? Like I'll be singing the rest of my life if I need to sing and perform somewhere to promote. But like my goal is to get on Periscope every single day. And that's going to be my performance. I'm 15 minutes, you know, and that's going to be tweeted, and I'm going to be, you know, I've got a little sign that's got all my handles, you know, that's going to be right next to me and be like, you know, this is going to be on my next album. Please support, you know, like, and I'm just, you know, so that's going to be basically my performance is going to be every day on Facebook Live and also Periscope.
Love it. Love it.
So that was my plan as far as performance goes. So I'm not purposely pursuing gigs, but I will be performing because that's my greatest business card, you know, is my voice, you know, when I'm singing, you know, so.
Good deal. Okay. So we talked about that stuff. I put some links down on the bottom. Have you ever, and I can't remember if I sent these to you back a while ago when we were talking, the TED Talk by Amanda Palmer. Have you ever listened to that?
I saw that and I read her book.
Really? How was it?
Yeah, it was really great.
Oh, good.
It was good.
So that's
it was long. It was good.
That's there if you want to reacquaint yourself. If you've already listened to it, which is awesome, there is a link that I put just below that says how Amanda Palmer did it, which if you read her book, you probably already got that. But it's a really simple, like, take you 2 minutes to read it, but she kind of
it'd be good to go back.
Kind of just refreshes you on it. And then there's 2 links, again, really quick read, 5 minutes to kind of refresh you just on some other musicians that have been successful on Kickstarter and what they did in general. I think that you've got a great platform because you already have so many people that like your music, which is such a big important thing anyways. But just to refresh yourself, the other thing to think about too, and I put kind of a general in there, I put it under extras, and I'll italicize it, but I was trying to brainstorm before we talked about, okay, Chelsea, what's something that he could do on social media, right? If he doesn't have a lot of gigs scheduled, what's something that he can do on social media to get people who are following him and following his Kickstarter campaign engaged so that they share, right? Because the ultimate goal is to, number one, get a follow from a person and a new loyal fan, and number two, to get them to share what you're doing so that there's attention while the Kickstarter campaign is campaigning. You can take this and tailor this to yourself, because obviously your focus is on your own music, right? Custom, authentic music, not necessarily covers or whatever that is. So kind of take this and make it your own. But I thought that, and you actually sound like you might already have something kind of cool in the works with your Periscope idea. The fact that you have that goal is awesome. But my thought originally was, give a chance, give your fans a chance, your followers a chance, whether that's Instagram followers, Facebook, whatever, to get involved in the you singing to them process, right? So whether that's you let them request a song, or whether that's whatever that is, right? However you can get them involved, but ask them for communication digitally so that they have a reason to talk to you, right? And then in turn, if you're talking to them back, that invites them to share, right? Like, you see what I'm saying?
Yep.
You know, everybody, it's like the same selfie concept, right? Everybody likes to know that an artist is paying attention to them, right? And they're in a picture and they're a part of that journey. Everybody just wants to be a part of the journey. So any opportunity you have to share that with them will be an opportunity for them to share that journey with their tribe and their following.
No, that's good. Send me a direct message. Yeah, I see all that down here. It's good.
Yeah. So, and again, I just kind of threw that together, you know, just from my standpoint. So take that and tailor it, you know, for yourself. I feel like I've thrown a lot at you. Are you feeling overwhelmed yet? No,
it's okay. I'm really glad you hit record on that.
Okay.
Because what I can do is, like, you know, my wife and I can watch this together again and look at this in preparations for our, you know, the campaign, because it's coming.
Good.
So
I'm stoked to hear the new music. I really am.
Thanks. It's gonna be done right, you know. And if I can let people know that, and they can understand how well this is gonna be.
Yep.
I mean, the production level it's as good as it gets. So
good.
It's gonna be great.
Okay, so I hope I've given you some stuff to think about. Like I said, if you have questions or feel like you hit a point this week when you're putting some of this stuff together where you're like, I just need somebody to hold my hand, or I need her to help me write this sentence or whatever, just reach out. That's what I'm here for.
Okay, and then text me. I'm gonna go ahead and pay you digitally, like the extra $3 or whatever.
Okay.
Is not a big deal. That way, it's efficient and it's done.
Okay.
Because even getting to a post office is a task at this point. So shoot me whatever that is. It's an email on PayPal or whatever it is.
It'll be an email invoice, and you can just enter your own info and it'll send it to me.
Okay, I'll get that done today then. Thanks, Chelsea.
You're welcome.
This is awesome.
I'll text you and I'll put in the stock the hashtags, and then text me about Thursday and we'll set up a time.
Sounds like a plan.
All right. Give your family a hello for me.
Thanks.
All right. Talk to you
soon.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Lots of love there.
Thank you.
All right. We'll see you.
See ya.